Hi everyone! Alright, I hope you enjoy this time lapse for your example that I'm doing from my house for the found object collage. Anyway, enjoy! Alright, so to start off, I was just going around my house and flipping through and found all these cool Zentangle books, and I was flipping through seeing which pages I like best. Over there on that little envelope, I was writing down ideas as they came to me. So I was just seeing all these nature things and was starting to really love them. So I decided to make my piece about nature. Yeah, I've got random stuff. Okay, so the background piece right here, that is something that my daughter drew weeks ago. I don't know. And it was a roll of paper and I ripped some off so I could have an actual background. So just randomly found these items because I didn't have any big papers at the house. I ripped up an envelope and it had some blue stuff inside and I thought it was a kind of cool texture, so I'm using that for the sky. I've got a stapler and some tape, so I'm kind of just roughly getting those down. And I found all these cool papers. Ripped up some of them, so I didn't use scissors. I think I have scissors, but I didn't use scissors. I like the way the ripped up look was, so I'm taping those down to just get them, roughly in there. Oh, by the way, all these clips, this is day one that I was working on this, and this is a clip, this whole segment really is about 30 minutes of me working, maybe 32. Of course, it's being sped up for you guys to watch. Oh gosh, those sunflowers. Found some awesome things to cut out. I love these feathers. I like the patterns too. Anyway, cutting those out. Maybe I'll have them blowing in the wind. So just use whatever you have. I just found random stuff that I had. I don't even have glue. I'm working with tape and staplers. But I do have these awesome watercolors. I got these for Christmas from the Hubs. And then the watercolor paintbrush that I'm using, it's really cool. It's actually got water in the handle. It's for traveling. So I love those. I pretty much have them in my bag at all times just in case I need to use them. So I was glad to have them. That watercolor palette, oh my gosh, it has so many colors. But I decided to use some of the greens for the mountainous ground kind of textury areas. And yeah, I'm just filling in some of the areas. Not all of them, but some of them. Use what you got. If you don't have watercolors, that's okay. You don't have to use watercolors. Find some random stuff in your house. Do you have a recycling bin? If you do, pilfer through it. See what you can cut up, rip up, mash together for this project. Going in with some blues. Maybe some blue greens. Nope, I decided to do greens. Oh, one tidbit of advice. Have a random piece of paper that I'm using over there to put behind your work so nothing that you don't want to get painted on gets anything. And then I have a tester page right there that I'm like testing out all the colors before I actually use them. So that's a really good tip for, you know, whatever you're using so that your paint, your markers, whatever, doesn't get on the areas that you don't want it to be on. You can still see the little background piece down below from my daughter's artwork. I love these awesome like natural edges. Like the paper doesn't stop at a clean edge. It just kind of keeps going in weird ways. All right, and now we're gonna switch to day 2. At this point, I actually changed my location to my new art space in our shed out the back. All right, so now I'm covering up that last bit of background paper to hold everything together. And I decided to use these awesome sunflowers to act as like kind of, I don't know, maybe sunflowers really close up, but kind of maybe another mountainous kind of look. Haven't quite decided what to do with those yet, but they are pretty. Now I do have an X-Acto knife, but you can do just regular scissors. No need for an X-Acto knife. Oh, okay. I could not find any glue, but I had stencil adhesive. So it's not like 100%. You can always take it back off. It's not, you know, permanent or anything, but it did let me glue down some stuff decently well. Oh, gotta love that coffee. All day, every day. Y'all know me. I do coffee all the time. All right, so I found some more feathers, some teeny tiny ones this time. So I'm cutting those up. I wonder where I'll place them. These little things that are, you know, I'm holding and, you know, figuring out right here, those are little packs of chalk pastels. It's just like a little packet of chalk. And I'm getting into my paint supplies. So again, guys, whatever you have at home, use it. I have some little tiny gouache paints, which is what I'm taking out of the bag right now. In the box is still some like acrylic paints, random stuff, some puffy paints, a gel stain apparently. But I think I'm going to use the watercolors that I have right there and the gouache paints in the future. Paintbrushes. What is she going to do next? Okay, good lord. Yeah, okay, I found some paper doilies and I wanted to cover up the background, kind of. I didn't want to fully cover it, but I wanted to mask it a little bit because I didn't enjoy the way the background, like sky, was looking. It was not complete, so I found doilies, and I'm going to add those. Cutting them up to make it work. And then I guess yeah, okay, so now I'm moving them to glue them down using that stencil adhesive. Hopefully it works. Alright, I have another palette. This is one of my favorite watercolor palettes. The finish of these watercolors is kind of chalky. It's like a mix between a temper cake and a watercolor palette. But I'm using my travel watercolor brush again and adding some, sky coloring. So it's not like pure white back there. We still want it to look like a sky. All right, here we are, day 3, and I'm starting in with my watercolors and travel brush and working on mainly the sunflowers that are at the bottom, using some orangey, yellow kind of mixes. And here's some brighter yellows. Some of these spots actually would not take the color because I had some glue remnants on them. That's okay, it kind of makes it look a little more interesting, lighter, darker here and there. I think this flower actually has the most spots that can't be filled in out of all of the petals. Yeah, you can see all that white space. That's alright. This day that I'm working on my piece, I actually was only able to work for like 25 minutes. And that's okay. 25 minutes, I got, a good amount done. I'm going to be getting all the baseline stuff done. Right now I'm going in with a kind of a grayish brown colored pencil, and kind of detailing in some of those other spots on the ground that I decided not to fill in with green. I knew I wanted to treat these little areas differently, and if you can look closely, there's little dots that kind of get a lot lighter and wider spaced apart, and all of the little shapes, like the dots, kind of go in different directions as far as getting darker. And I kind of followed the same pattern as I was doing the dark to light filling in with the colored pencil as well. And now I'm going to be placing the feathers, officially. I'm going to be gluing them down today. I'm still using that stencil adhesive spray to glue them down, kind of temporarily. But yeah. Flying in the wind is kind of the look that I'm going for these. They're just floating in the wind. And that's basically the 3rd day that I worked on this. And now we start with the 4th day. Didn't have a title card for this one, but that's alright. I am starting right in with some of those really cool chalk pastel blocks that kind of look like single eyeshadow palettes. But yeah, I'm going in with those to start with the feathers. Adding in some colored pencil details so that it can show a little bit more depth and interesting aspects. And some of my feathers did come off. That stencil adhesive did not work as well, so I was able to find some super glue randomly enough, and I used that. Who knew? The art teacher has so many supplies, but not a single glue stick or Elmer's glue in sight. But you work with what you got. This clip actually is going way faster than my other ones, it feels like. This clip is the fourth day, and it took me the longest. I actually spent 45 minutes working on this piece on day 4 that you're watching right now. Adding some more depth of color on the ground. I really like that teal color. So I added that to some of the green little areas. And then, so that it kind of made sense with other parts of my piece, I'm adding it to 1 or 2 of the feathers as well. So it's just not like color that's randomly there. So yeah, I'm adding that teal color to some of the feathers. Filling in some details. I decided to actually leave the ones that are already designed. I decided to leave those alone. I feel like they have enough detail on their own without having to be filled in. I kind of like that balance. Like, those are very patterned and filled in, just black and white, where other areas of the piece are detailed in other ways, like, you know, with the chalk additions, with the watercolor additions, and all that. Using some blue chalk to fill in some more depth and detail for the sky. I really like the patterns that are created with these doilies, so I'm filling in the blue to kind of really highlight and make those patterns stand out against the background. And now I'm going in with a paint pen. I had a paint pen on hand. It's just black. And I'm making a tree. I actually wanted, this was in the plans from the beginning, to somehow incorporate a tree into the design, and just now, like this day, realized that I had a paint pen that I could work with. So I'm adding that in, getting all those textury details in there. And I really like the tree, but I don't feel like it is found too much. Like, this type of tree is found in the mountains, you know. I feel like it's more of an Asian kind of looking tree, like, I don't know, something you'd find with cherry blossoms. But oh well, it's a tree. Back to the feathers, add more details. I went to that feather because I needed the tree to dry. It was actual, like, a paint pen. So I had to make that dry. And then here's where I use the gouache colors that I was using, or that I set out the other day, earlier in this video, and I'm actually using them now. So I'm actually going to use a stamp that I hand carved a long time ago that I found in my stash of artsy things, and it's a fall leaf, actually. So I'm going with that for the colors, and keeping to, like, the yellows and oranges and, like, the burnt, you know, the burnt red / brown look, the burnt sienna look. Fall is my favorite time, so I had to do this. I had to make something like this work for my nature found item collage piece. And yeah, I'm just using this gouache, which is kind of a mix between watercolors and acrylic paint. Not very many people know what it is, but I found out about it during college, my first year of college. I found out what gouache was. We were not forced. We were using it for a painting class, actually, and I've had it ever since. So I'm not using like a traditional stamp and stamp pad for this. I'm using a stamp, but I'm literally painting on washable paint to do the stamping. Doing a little bit of last minute red around the inside of those sunflowers to really make those pop so it's not just white on the inside. And that's basically it. Just got these red little details and cleaning up some of the petals so you can really see the yellow come back out where the chalk got a little messy. But there you go. Have it. There's my example for the found object collage. Guys, use whatever you have. Find stuff outside, find stuff in your recycling. Don't use anything like food, but anything and everything you have can be used for this. Don't be afraid to go big either. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!